Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Talking Fitchburg. We are in the guest segment, and today I am joined by a special guest from Agrace. Cherie, you're back.
I'm back.
Welcome back.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
Oh, man. That's too kind. We love having you guys on here. And today, we are moving into the holiday season. So we're going to be tackling the topic of grief throughout the holidays. And luckily, you are an expert on this and sort of how people can cope and sort of why maybe the holidays are a little tougher on people. So maybe if we just want to start with that, there is a ghost on set, everybody. Watch out. Let's just start with that. So what can make the holidays sort of a challenge for people?
It seems to be when someone has lost someone they love, especially due to death, the holidays seem to just magnify their absence.
Sure.
So while everyone else is celebrating and thinking about being together with friends and family and joy and generosity, when you've lost a loved one, sometimes it just feels like that's all you are reminded of.
Sure. Yeah, that can be tough. It's always around, right? Everybody's talking about it. Sure. So that scenario is going to come up. People are going to be talking about friends and family and things around the holidays. So what are some things that people can do to cope if they're having a tough time kind of dealing with it around the holidays?
The first thing, Preston, is for people to be patient with themselves and be easy on themselves. And then secondly, it can be helpful just to decide, especially the holiday season after a recent loss, maybe do something different. Maybe this is the year to do a different activity or create a new tradition. That helps to give them some other ideas and thoughts and distract them or take the attention maybe and narrow it down from that void. So that's a big thing.
Yeah.
Secondly, another thing that we find is helpful for folks is when you've experienced death and you're grieving, sometimes it's really helpful just to decide that you're not going to do all that you did before.
Sure.
So in addition to doing some things differently, also decide maybe this isn't the year to shop for everyone or to have the huge 32 dozen cookie bake, or maybe it's the year you don't send out greeting cards. It's just too difficult, and you need a break.
Yeah. So it sounds like taking the time to consider yourself,
Correct.
Think about yourself a little bit more, focus on what your own needs are, instead of, maybe busying yourself, trying to distract yourself with things, maybe taking the time to just kind of focus inward a little bit.
Excellent. Yeah.
Absolutely.
For sure.
And of course, spending time with other friends and family, I'm sure, is huge.
Yeah, the ones that they feel safe with, comfortable with, the family and friends that you don't have to pretend to be having a good time. You can be honest about, hey, I'm just still really sad. I miss my person.
Sure.
And then finally, just to now, before the holidays hit us, communicate to people that, hey, it's going to be different for me.
Sure.
And I'm not quite sure how I'm going to want to handle it. And I just want you all to know. Kind of putting them on notice that makes them more sensitive to you.
Sure. Do you have any tips for people who know someone who's having a tough time, sort of how you can make yourself available or helpful to them without
That's a great question.
really pushing it on them?
Preston, would you get everyone to ask that question?
Hey, I would love to. Everybody ask these questions.
I think that is such a good question because what we can do or others can do when you know somebody who's grieving and the holidays are coming up is to actually ask them. Call them, email them, send them a text that says, hey, thinking about the holidays, what do you think might be helpful or comforting to you this year?
Sure.
And because it's going to be different for everyone. And so if we try to assume, we usually don't get it right.
Right. Don't want to step on any toes. We just want to make ourselves available.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. And then let that person kind of have that sense of control over. For some, it's going to be helpful to be with a lot of people. For some, they're going to say, I really just want to kind of stay at home.
Sure, absolutely. So again, I mentioned you are the experts in this type of scenario. If people want to find out more about Agrace, how can they do that?
One of the best ways they can do, because they get a full picture, is to go to our website.
Sure.
at agrace.org. On agrace.org, there are some pages and some links to our Agrace Grief Support Center, as well as information about grief support. And also, there's also some handouts with just some tips.
Fantastic. So perfect. I mean, lots of resources at Agrace and on the website, it sounds like. So if you know someone dealing with a tough time, or if you yourself are having a tough time, good place to go to maybe start your search and your journey on that.
Yes, very good.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on today. We always appreciate the tips and the thoughtfulness that you guys bring. We're going to take a quick break. We'll come back and we'll wrap up this show here for the day on Talking Fitchburg.